What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Merab Dvalishvili plans on knocking out Petr Yan. This weekend, we have a highly anticipated rematch between Merab and Yan after 2 years since their first fight. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Now, it's no surprise that many believe that Merab will wrestle his way to victory. However, Merab is sending a message to the UFC fanbase saying they shouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning by knockout. During a recent episode of UFC's Embedded, Merab said the following: "I'm not even worried about the fight yet because fighting is what I do every day. I can just wake up and go fight. I'm always getting better and I'm always showing more technique. And don't be surprised if I knock this guy out or finish him on the ground because I'm getting better and better." As we're on the topic of Merab, during his media day interview, he revealed that a fighter and his manager called him after their fight and asked him to not post any pictures. Merab was not a fan of this phone call as he feels like fake hype isn't needed to promote fights.
One guy, the spoiled guy who called me after our fight, he said, "Oh, Merab, like, don't post picture of me. It was just, we just build the fight." Or I'm like, bro, why you did this? You know, you don't need to do this. And then he's also like, his assistant or his some kind of guy also called me. I don't like this, man. You know, people, MMA fans will watch our fights anyway. And if it's not organic, why we have to disrespect each other or something? I never liked this, but whatever was like, it was real, you know, it was real, and I'm a real guy. I don't, maybe I joke, whatever, but it's, you know, but joke is joke, but like, I don't like to talk trash for no reason.
Many people in the community are speculating that it's Umar and his manager Ali Abdelaziz, but no names were mentioned from Merab. Dricus du Plessis calls out Brendan Allen. After getting dominated in his last fight against Khamzat Chimaev to lose his middleweight title, Dricus du Plessis thinks his road back to UFC gold starts with Brendan Allen. He said he would love to smash Brendan's face in, especially if it gets him closer to getting his belt back. He doesn't want a hype fight or a money fight, just simply a fight that will get him in position to get his belt back. Here's the clip.
Listen, you win 2 fights in a row, then come calling out former champions. I mean, I would love to smash his face in. I would absolutely love it. He's such an idiot. I would love it. But to be honest with you, I don't, as a champion, you pick guys, but I only pick the best guy. Yeah. I always want to fight the best next guy. For me, where I'm at, I don't want a hype fight. I want a money fight. I want the fight that's going to get me to the title the quickest. That's what I want. If that's what the UFC wants, sure. But is that really, does it really make sense? You know, 2-fight win streak, there's a lot of guys. But like I said, I don't care. Give me anybody. As long as it gets me to back to my belt, that's the only thing I'm concerned about, is getting back to my title.
DDP also reacted to both his own fight with Khamzat and JDM's most recent fight with Islam Makhachev. He said that while they're dominant fights, they're boring to watch with 20 minutes of control time. And Dricus even said that he got bored in his own fight with Khamzat, just being pinned on the ground the whole time. The fights now, we see guys holding guys down for a long period of time and just dominating the fight. You know, like myself and with the JDM fight, now 20 minutes of control time. That is a dominant performance, but it's not fun to watch. I mean, I got bored in my fight and I was in it. You know, I think people mistake MMA. They want to see striking. That is not what we do. That's not why we are MMA athletes. With all that being said, if DDP is matched up against Brendan Allen next, who do you think wins that fight? Kamaru Usman responds to Tyron Woodley's comments. Recently, we reported Tyron Woodley shutting down Dana White's claims that Kamaru is the GOAT of the welterweight division. According to Tyron, he thinks that Kamaru isn't the greatest welterweight and said that he had the realest route, beating all of the top guys like Damian Maia, Robbie Lawler, and Wonderboy. He also claimed that Kamaru was the one who kissed the most and was accepting every fight to get on Dana's good side. Well, Kamaru obviously doesn't agree with Woodley, responding on his Pound for Pound podcast saying that he actually is a fan of Woodley, but with his recent antics, it's making it really hard for him to continue to be a fan of him. Here's the clip.
What the hell did I do to him? What did I do to this guy? You would think we fought or something. I've never spoken anything against him negatively, publicly, but come on, you can just see this and tell, like, this guy, bro, I've been hearing negative things from him for a while now. Hated on me, he's hated on my team, he's hated on our manager. Bro, it's not our fault that we didn't do things the way you did to end up the way you have. I don't like the fact that I see this from you. This is not becoming of you, man, because at one point I looked at this man and I said, man, I love everything that you're doing, but you're making it very, very hard for me to continue to still be a fan of yours.
Not everyone agrees that Kamaru is the GOAT of the welterweight division. Just last week on the Ariel Helwani show, Carlos Prates said that he thinks that Kamaru is the GOAT, but Ariel shut down those claims live and said that Georges St-Pierre is.
Kamaru won the fight for the belt, but also he's the GOAT of the welterweight division, so...
Nah, come on, first of all, he ain't no GOAT of the welterweight. What, have you heard of a guy named Georges St-Pierre?
I know that guy, but I prefer Kamaru.
Nah, come on, Carlo. I like you, Carlo. What are you talking about?
So who do you think is the greatest welterweight of all time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Joshua Van sends a warning to Alexandre Pantoja. Ahead of their fight this weekend at UFC 323, Joshua Van is attempting to become the first UFC champion born in the 2000s. Van's been receiving praise on social media for how active of a fighter he is. In the last 5 years, he's had 21 fights, averaging 5 fights per year. That would make him one of the most active fighters in the UFC. And now that he's finally getting a shot at the title, he wants to make it clear that he didn't come all this way to lose. At Media Day, he said that he's here to take the belt from one of the greatest fighters ever in the flyweight division, Pantoja. He also said that the mentality of even if you lose, it's okay, like he had in his previous fights, is not happening this time. He's ready to become champ.
Like even if you lose, it's okay, right? So I don't plan on losing. You know what I mean? So I'm here to take that belt from one of the greatest in our division. So that's the goal, and I stay at that.
Joshua also continued his praise of Pantoja, saying that he believes Pantoja is the flyweight GOAT over Demetrius Johnson. We've got to give credit to Pantoja, man. He's the greatest of all time in my eyes in our division. This is the up-and-coming versus the great. I started watching UFC after 2017, so I didn't really see Demetrius Johnson fight. So you know what I mean? All I saw was Pantoja. When he got the belt, that was when I made my debut. So you know, I was kind of used to seeing him at the top. So that's why I say he's the greatest of all time. While we're on the topic of Pantoja, at Media Day, he revealed that he's going for the #1 spot on UFC's pound-for-pound rankings. While he acknowledged that it's going to be very hard to beat certain fighters out of the spot, like Islam Makhachev, Khamzat, and Merab, he's still just thankful to be in the position to be named with those top-ranked guys. Here's the clip.
I want to beat the pound for pound. I want to be the best fighter of the world, you know. And it's very tough I conquer that because we have a lot of good champions right now. You know, you have Makhachev, Merab, Topuria, Chimaev, Pereira, Volkanovski, so many great guys. You know, I think that's the best time to be a UFC fan. But in the same time, it's very hard to fighters get this #1 position. I think everybody's so great in this ranking. You know, a lot of guys have good points. You know, you see Chimaev on the feet, Topuria, Makhachev, like I look unstoppable, Merab, and I feel very happy to be part of that club. You know, the best guys, the best fighter of the world. You know, and what I want Saturday night is prove I'm the best one. And that's what I try to follow. You know, that's one of my goals.
UFC updates. Ahead of the last pay-per-view card of the year, let's take a look at what's happening in the UFC. After our video went public yesterday, we got another UFC 325 fight being revealed. During a recent Kevin Kuzma podcast, Torres Finney announced his next UFC fight and even revealed his opponent. Torres Finney will fight Jacob Malkoun at UFC 325.
Got a fight coming up. I'm really excited. UFC 325. Really excited, you know, going to Australia, getting a chance to fight Jacob Malkoun. That's a really good fight for me. I'm really excited for the matchup.
Next, we had an unexpected announcement yesterday. Real American Freestyle announced that Colby Covington will be taking on Luke Rockhold on January 10th. We haven't seen Covington in the octagon since his loss to Joaquin Buckley in December of last year. We hadn't seen Covington compete in 2025 at all. He's most likely taking this match to warm up for his return. At least we have something to look forward to during our 6-week break. Let's move on to Paulo Costa posting on Twitter saying that he's fighting Roman Dolidze in February. Roman most recently is coming off a loss to Anthony Hernandez and doesn't have a fight booked yet. So this matchup could make sense. Paulo, on the other hand, is coming off of a unanimous decision victory over Roman Kopylov and said in his tweet that he's been able to share his gifts with the world, and now it's his time to return the favor. Paulo tweeted writing, "There's a different energy in this drink, but this everyone knows. From the streets of Brazil to the global stage of the octagon, I've been able to share my gifts with the world. Now it's time to return the favor. Roman Dolidze, February. See ya. Next, we got Beneil Dariush talking about changing weight divisions. In a recent interview with the one and only Submission Radio, we have Beneil talking about moving up to 170. I was thinking to myself, maybe I'm going to move to 170. And so I figured I would have an answer. Instead of saying, I don't know if I'm going to do it. So I did some testing here and I did what's called a DEXA scan. And it basically, I was at 185, 186 at 10% body fat, which means I have like 19 pounds of fat to lose. I got the info from them and then I reached out to the UFC. So I'm going to go there this week and do some testing over there just to make sure. Would you be interested in seeing Dariush compete at welterweight? Let us know in the comments. Next, we have Paddy Pimblett getting knocked down during a match. During a recent charity event, Paddy Pimblett was filmed getting knocked out for charity. Huge props to Paddy for this. And finally, we got some unfortunate news, which leads us to UFC fighter pulls out of UFC 324 fight. Last night, Sherdog MMA revealed that the fight between Rose Namajunas and Alexa Grasso had been canceled. According to the report, Grasso pulled out of the fight, and the reason isn't known as we're recording this video. Fortunately, the UFC was able to find a replacement, and it was very unexpected. Rose Namajunas will now fight Natalia Silva on UFC 324. This is very surprising considering Valentina Shevchenko seemed interested in fighting her next, but we're guessing she wanted to stay active. For those of you that are not familiar with Silva, what are you doing? She's currently on a 7-0 run in the UFC, and her last win was against Alexa Grasso, the fighter that pulled out. Natalia broke the news to Sherdog MMA during an interview. She said the following: "The UFC called me saying that, unfortunately, Valentina won't be ready in January, and they want me to fight one more time, so I'll fight on January 24th with Rose Namajunas. I don't know what happened to Alexa, but if I want to be the UFC champion, I have to face any challenge. I don't know what happened to Alexa, but I'll be ready by then." As for her fight with Rose Namajunas, she reacted to the matchup saying, "Rose Namajunas is a really tough opponent. She has great footwork, and when she's not comfortable in the striking, she has great takedowns. Me and my team already started to study her to make a game plan to win." Merab shares his side of Umar Nurmagomedov feud. Many predicted that it's just a matter of time before Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov square off in a rematch. But it doesn't sound like Merab will have any trouble getting motivated to try and punch the contender one more time. Dvalishvili and Nurmagomedov fought for the first time this past January, and Merab ultimately won the memorable fight by a decision. Leading up to that bout, the two traded plenty of verbal jabs online and in interviews, and that's continued since UFC 311. And ahead of Merab's rematch with Petr Yan at UFC 323, he explained on the Pound for Pound podcast why he has some serious issues with Umar. Here was some of what the bantamweight champ had to say. Number one thing, he didn't respect me and he called me a fake champion. I don't know if he was tweeting or maybe his assistant or whatever it is. I know it wasn't Nurmagomedov's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, because Ali reached out to me and I told Ali, and he wasn't helping him tweet. I kind of know who was helping him tweet, but what kind of man are you when somebody's tweeting for you? So I don't speak good English and we can maybe understand each other, but when I go to Twitter, I make sure I ask my assistant or somebody, maybe my friend, to translate this, but it's always my words. Maybe help me to translate, but it's always me. I will never let my manager or my friend or my brother tweet for me to say words that aren't even mine." Merab, who was the first person to beat Umar, also said this. "Also, he did call me a fake champion. So what I was mad about most, he doesn't respect me as a champion. Yes, it's a fight. We may lose. He was supposed to beat me. One punch can change everything, but I earned it. I earned it to get there. I was champion, and he should respect me, because if you're fighting for a championship and then you beat the champion, you don't want to beat somebody stupid. You should give the champion respect. That's what I was most mad about him. He doesn't respect me." Now you'd think that if Merab does face Umar again, then tensions will die down after the rematch. After all, MMA history is littered with examples of this happening. But a few things have to fall into place before we see these two battle again. As noted, Merab has to get by Yan next weekend, and recently it was announced that Umar will face Davison Figueiredo at UFC 324. And that'll wrap up our video today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss a video. We'll see you all tomorrow.